Today, we're going to show you the best 7 foods that you need to be eating to clean out your liver. Now, what many people don't realize about the liver is they think it's a storage place for toxins when it normally does not store toxins. It gets rid of toxins. Now, toxins are stored in the fat cells. So if you have a fatty liver, chances are you will have toxins stored in your liver.
In which case you need to, number one, take something called TUDCA. You can look that up, as well as follow the solutions that I'm going to get into later in this video. Now, a couple other things that could mess this process up. Let's say you're missing B vitamins, you don't have the right nutrients, that can slow things down. Or let's say you have a fatty liver, that can decrease the function of the liver. Or if the liver is inflamed, or if you have scar tissue as in cirrhosis, all these things can slow down this process, as well as not consuming some of the foods I'm going to talk about. But the good news about the liver is that it's one of the only organs that can regenerate very quickly. This explains liver detox.
It actually makes something called bile. Bile is very similar to like detergent or soap. It helps to extract certain nutrients in food that are fat soluble, like the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, K1, K2, also omega-3 fatty acids. Also, there are certain plant nutrients, they're called phytonutrients, like lutein, for example. That's really good for the eye. And so a lot of these phytonutrients in plants are also fat soluble. This is why when you have a salad, it's really good to add olive oil or some other oil. Now, I do want to touch on the bad foods for the liver before the good foods. So let me just quickly go through them. The high fructose corn syrup, okay? Anything with high amounts of fructose is really bad for your liver because it creates all sorts of problems with insulin. It creates a fatty liver. But you also have other poisons like medications. Yes, medications are also poisons. And so a lot of people develop complications from their medications that involve damaging the liver, especially things like prednisone, right? Which is a synthetic cortisol, just devastating to your liver. Vegetable oils, these are unsaturated oils like corn oil, like soy oil, cottonseed, canola, safflower, and too much sunflower, and too much peanut oil are all high in something called omega-6, which are inflammatory, especially if they're heated as in fried foods, deep fried onion rings, or the deep fried cheese, or deep fried pickles, or corn chips. Then you have things that are fried in the oil and sweetened, like the deep fried chicken wings that they have. Then you have these veggie rolls, which are deep fried, and then you dip them in some type of sugary sauce, right? Then you have other things with the corn chips. You have all these different dips. All these wonderful appetizers are just terrible for the liver. What's also hard in the liver is when you have sugar with protein, as in barbecue ribs, okay? So that's really hard on the liver. Ribs are fine as long as you don't add the sugary type sauce with them. And then we also have the combination of like meat and starch, right? And then you have steak and potato or steak and fries. Well, you should have the steak and the vegetable, but not the starch, and especially not the French fried starch. All these things are really hard on the liver. The more cooked foods that you eat, the more canned foods you eat, the harder it is on the liver as well. So that means the body has to make enzymes, and it kind of depletes the enzyme reserve. And so at least 50% of the time, you should be consuming some raw foods like vegetables, things like that. And then, of course, we have alcohol, sugar, refined foods like refined carbohydrates. Now, one point about the liver, if your liver is damaged or fatty, okay, and it's swollen, that may refer pain to the right side of your back, a little bit lower, right between the scapula and the spine. That's called the rhomboid muscle, and you'll have tightness in the back. All right, so what are the foods that are best for the liver? Well, it would be those foods that provide detoxification, that provide lowering inflammation, that help slow down the scarring process and the development into cirrhosis. Let's start with number 1, cruciferous vegetables. That would be the kale, the broccoli, the arugula, the cabbage, the beets, the Brussels sprouts, and there's many more. So cruciferous vegetables not only have these enzymes to help this phase 1, phase 2 detoxification process, but they also can trigger your own body's production of these enzymes to help the detoxification process. So if we take it one step further and we take cabbage and ferment it into sauerkraut, we have extra benefits of the probiotics in that product. So that's going to help get rid of the fat from your liver. It's going to reduce the inflammation on your liver. And the fiber itself can actually feed the microbes in your colon to help make more bile. But sauerkraut is awesome for the liver because it's easy to digest. It also is loaded with vitamin C. I mean, I think 1 cup of like homemade sauerkraut is almost 700 milligrams of vitamin C. And then sometimes I'll do a kale salad. Okay, kale is like just a powerhouse as far as phytonutrients, is to take organic kale raw, put it into the freezer, freeze it, take it out, and then it breaks into these little crystals that you can then put into your blender, add some blueberries with some water, blend it up and drink your kale salad. Number 2 food is eggs. Now, why are eggs good for the liver? Because eggs have the highest amount of choline, and choline is one of the most powerful things to strip fat from your liver. All right, number 3, sprouts, specifically broccoli sprouts, but other sprouts are good too. So what's so unique about the broccoli sprout is it has like 100 times the amount of sulforaphane. It helps with this phase 1, phase 2 detoxification. If you were to take just a small amount of sprouts and put them in your salad, or take like a half a cup of sprouts, put them in a blender with some berries and blend that down with water, you would have something that is very beneficial for your liver. All right, number 4, beets. Beets have special properties that reduce inflammation in the liver, help to mobilize the bile release from the liver. Beets are also good to reduce fat on your liver. Even though they're a little bit sweeter, they also can help your blood sugars. All right, number 5, garlic. Garlic is loaded with the sulfur that your liver needs to detoxification. Not to mention, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antimicrobial, so it does a lot for the liver. All right, number 6, salmon or other omega-3 fatty acid foods. You can do sardines. You can even do what I like is canned cod liver, okay? It's not just cod liver oil, it's cod liver. It's quite good. But one recipe that I really like in my salad is to chop up cabbage and take a can of tuna and mix it with the cabbage. Okay, so now we have the omega-3 and the cruciferous together. I'll put some lemon, I'll put olive oil, and I'll make a great salad. Another recipe that I like is roasted Brussels sprouts with salmon. That's a really good combination. We got the omega-3 and the cruciferous. And number 7 is lemon. Lemon is not only loaded with vitamin C if it's raw, not pasteurized, but lemon can help reduce fat on your liver. Lemon is anti-inflammatory, and it's very sour, and anything sour or bitter is good for the liver. So based on these 7 foods, you could pretty much mix them all together and have one meal, and that would be the most awesome meal for your liver. Now, there's other things that are good for the liver as well, like apple cider vinegar. Of course, dilute it in water and drink that. Great for blood sugars, great for your liver, especially for a fatty liver. And then you have olive oil, which helps you extract fat-soluble nutrients in all of your salads. Now, this is not necessarily a food, it's just an herb, but out of all the herbs, okay, that are good for the liver, the top plant would be milk thistle. If you have anything wrong with your liver, you should probably be taking milk thistle as a routine thing, especially if you're on medications, because milk thistle can reduce the complications from medication.